Oh, hi. I have a short, I think, little video today. I kind of like this setup though. I decided to try a new like seating area to record in. So let me know if you like it. I know I've got some like boxes back here and there's some, you can see my table and stuff back here, but I think it's better than I think it's better than where I was in the office previously, so it's more cozy, at least for me. But today I'm going to be talking about, I read the worst rated and the best rated book on my Goodreads Want to Read list. I have about 200 books on my want to read list as of right now. So there were a lot of choices. There was a lot of possibility there for what could be the best and the worst. And it's actually kind of interesting that the ones that were the best and worst rated were actually ones that are more recent, which I thought was very interesting. But I'm going to start with the worst rated one first, and then I'll do the best rated one. So the worst rated book on my Goodreads was The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. And this one I actually read on my Kindle, as you can see. It had 3.36 stars out of about 300,000 ratings, not including reviews. So 3.36 is kind of like middle of the road. I was really surprised that this was the lowest rated book, to be honest, because it is a very recent book. It went like viral on TikTok and Book Talk or whatever. I don't know. I'm not in the Book Talk world. I don't have TikTok, but I know like even when you're reading the book, it says like, hold on, read the viral TikTok sensation. Like it says it like as you're reading it. So that was the worst rated book. And honestly, like it wasn't the worst book that I've read in a while, which I don't know if that's saying a lot, to be honest with you. But it was very easy to read. It was a very cozy fall like vibes book. A lady named Jeannie decides to leave her big city life and move to this small town and take over a cafe that was owned by her aunt or cousin or something like that. I don't remember. I'm so sorry. I don't remember. I think it's her aunt. And like immediately upon like coming to the town and like trying to get the cafe ready to set up, she meets this kind of ruggedly handsome man, and he's, you know, kind of like a farmer, kind of the town hunk and the town like heartthrob, and there's a story there. First off, I just wanted to like say about the book, I was kind of excited to read it, although my like hopes were not like super high because I knew it was the lowest rated book on my list. But right off the bat, like I just want to throw out here, no offense to anybody, but the name Jeannie for the main character, it really reads like as an older person to me, because I Dream of Jeannie, and that was like an older sitcom, and then also the only people that I've known personally in my life that were named Jeannie were like older women. And so for me, it is no fault of the author, like the book or the writing or anything like that, but just for me personally, I immediately was disconnected with the character just by the name and the like previous history that I had with the name. So that was a little hump that I had to get over. But that's on me. Like that's on me. But yeah, overall, it was very easy to read. It was very easy to get into. I don't want to like spoil anything. It was not a terrible book, but it was not fantastic. Like I said, I've read other things recently that have been worse. I personally rated it 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads once I finished it. It was a cute story. It was easy to read. You're really rooting for both the male and the female characters in the book, which I thought was nice. It's like there's not one like that I liked more than the other, or like, yeah, I can really get behind Jeannie, but not so much. What was the guy's name? Logan. Yeah, I can really get behind Jeannie, but like I don't really care about Logan. Like I genuinely had respect, and there was good story building for both characters, which I thought was nice. There's a little bit of mystery thrown in, and it definitely has fall vibes. Like that was one thing I kind of regret reading it in the beginning of summer in June, because it is a very like fall cozy. There's a fall festival and there's pumpkins and like hot cocoa and things like that. And so yeah, like it did make me want to get up and like go grab a pumpkin spice latte. But the only thing I will say is there is some spice in it like towards the very end, and I don't know, I'm one of those people, like I'm not a prude, like I might come across that way, I'm not sure, I'm not a prude, but it just felt like it was kind of thrown in the end. And that's like the kind of stuff that I don't like. I don't mind spice. I don't mind reading about like sexy scenes or sexual relations, but I feel like it's just thrown in, and I feel like it's unnecessary to the point where like I'm literally just skipping pages because that's all this is. It doesn't add anything to the story. Like, yeah, I get it. They made out and then they had sex. Like, that's great. Overall, I didn't feel like it added anything to the story, like having that much, especially just thrown in right in the back. So for me, like that threw me off. It definitely downscored it for that, and it was just like a really short book, and it was just okay, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say you have to go read this, like it went TikTok viral because this is a fantastic book and it's so good and oh my god, y'all have to go read this. I can see where like if you're part of like a girly book club that likes to read novels, where it would be popular in that way, because it was just so easy and kind of like it feels like a familiar story, you know what I mean? So I don't know why it went viral on TikTok, I have no idea, but for me it was just kind of like a meh book, and I honestly don't have any desire to read any more like kind of in the series or by the same author, because I know the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and then like I know there's also like a strawberry pancake one or something. Like I keep seeing ads for them on stuff too, and oh, I just noticed there's the cat in the picture. I'm sorry, this is on the Kindle too. It's probably, you can't see it, but there's a cat in the story, and I just now realized that the cat's on the cover. It's one of the things about not having a physical book is you can't really like take in a lot of the cover if you don't just sit there and study it. But I don't think I'll be reading anymore, but I did see at Walmart there is a the Pumpkin Spice Cafe coloring book, and I think that's kind of cute. Yeah, that's the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. For the best rated book on my Goodreads Want to Read list, it was The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I know I have seen around for ages, and in fact, I finally broke down and got it because I saw the 10th anniversary edition at Target, and I was like, that's so pretty. Like, here's the sprayed edges. Sorry, I do have some notes in here, but I saw it at Target and I was just like, okay, now's the time, like I'm gonna get this book. And so it just so happened that it happened. And it happened to be the best rated book on Goodreads for my Want to Read list. It was a 4.64 out of over 1 million ratings, which is crazy because I don't have a lot of books on my Want to Read list that have that many, like, million people that have rated it. So I actually got this edition off of Amazon after I saw it at Target because it was a little bit cheaper, you know what I mean? But it's just absolutely beautiful. First of all, I just want to take a moment to appreciate the 10th anniversary edition and how beautiful it is. So this is the book, the dust cover with the sprayed edges, which they're absolutely beautiful. But if you take off, I think it's like even more magical if you take off the dust cover, which is actually what I did. Like, I haven't had the dust cover on almost like the whole time since I've had the book because I just think it's beautiful. I think this is a beautiful book without the dust jacket on it. Like, it's so pretty. Like, look how beautiful that is. It was so pretty. In fact, I've never had this reaction to a book, but I crocheted a book sleeve for it that I thought went with it because I just thought it was just so beautiful. I took this book to Florida with me because I thought I was gonna read it on vacation. So I did use the book sleeve, but then I ended up not reading this book. Yeah, I've never seen a book and thought like, oh my god, that's so beautiful, I want to make something for it. Going into this book, I knew it was a historical fiction and I knew it was very popular, but I didn't really know anything else about it. I was kind of going in blind, which is like, I kind of prefer doing that. From the first page, I was ecstatic with picking, or having picked this book and having read it, because the quality of writing from the very first page was just so different from anything else that I have read recently. Let me just read the first the sentence. If I have learned anything in this long life of mine, it is this: in love we find out who we want to be, in war we find out who we are. Just right off the bat, like, what a great opening. This book is mostly set in France at the beginning of World War II, and it kind of follows the story of two sisters. The sisters are Vianne and Isabel. And Vianne is the older sister and Isabel is the younger. And it kind of follows these two paths of these two sisters at the beginning and through World War II in France. And it does start out like in the present day, and you know that you're in the point of view of one of the sisters, but you don't know which one. Going through the book, you know, I would say it was easy to read. Like, I got hooked pretty good, and I wanted to read more and find out more. In the beginning of the book, I really connected more with Vianne, who was the older sister, because it's established like pretty quickly that she got married and she had a child. And I relate more with that because I'm married and I have a child. And then the younger sister, Isabel, is more like rebellious and obstinate, and I didn't connect with her as much as Vianne. But it's really interesting going throughout the book. Unfortunately I didn't, I thought I took notes for this. Okay, real talk for a second, because I think I'm going crazy, because I read this book at the end of May. The end of May and the beginning of June is when I read this, and I swear I took notes as soon as I was finished. I even specifically remember talking about how I cried at 2 points at the end, and writing that down somewhere, but I for the life of me cannot find my notes. I don't know, maybe did I put them on my phone and then I erased them? I have no idea what happened. So I can't find my notes. I think I'm crazy. So this one is gonna be me talking about the Nightingale is going to be just what I remember. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I rate it 4 stars out of 5 on Goodreads. I guess I have a problem with whiny teenagers or rebellious teenager POVs, because I just could not connect or get into the character of Isabel. And every time it was her part of the story, she was just doing stuff that I was just that is so unbelievable to me as a reader, that I was just, this is stupid. And that's the only reason I kind of downscored it for me. I know, and I don't know, because I wasn't there, and I haven't read anybody's accounts of World War II in the eyes of a teenager and what they went through. But specifically, there was a point in the book, and it was pretty early on, so I don't think I'm going to be spoiling anything, but Isabel is fleeing with masses of people in France to escape the Germans, and they get gunned down, and so she witnesses people being shot and dying around her. It's even described that she has bloody clothes, and she's falls and gets scrapes and things like that. And then after that traumatic event, it goes through in the book, and she is just very rude to a German soldier in the book. But a German soldier comes and belays with Vianne and her family in her home, and so the German is living in their house, and it's this German that Isabel is very rude face to face to, and without consequence. And to me, it just didn't feel if I had witnessed that traumatic of an experience where I'm running for my life and I'm seeing people die around me, I'm gonna be afraid of the German. I'm a teenager, I'm gonna be afraid of the German in my house, and I'm not going to be rude to him to his face, because I don't know what he's gonna do. But I don't know, I'm sure there are other people in the world who are not like me, who are more feisty women maybe, who felt Isabel was completely justified in how she was acting and speaking to this person. But for me, it was just not not believable. And it wasn't just that instance in the book. There were other things as well. But the book was very interesting, because it turns out that Isabel kind of turns into a spy, And I talked about this in my previous video as well. I had just read The Alice Network, which also had to deal with women spies on France during World War I, and partially in like kind of World War II as well. And so there were a lot of similarities in that aspect between Isabel's storyline and then like also the book I had read, The Alice Network. So for that also, like I think I also kind of downscored it for that because I was seeing like a lot of similarities and it wasn't anything that was like new or astounding to me. Like there wasn't anything that was like, oh my god, this is so original and so cool, even though I believe this book, The Nightingale, was written before The Alice Network. Overall though, I really did enjoy it. I think this is a fantastic book. I think it's worth a read. Definitely if you like historical fiction, it's definitely worth a read. There are definitely parts in here that were cringy just because it has to do with World War II and, you know, like Nazis and things like that. It's always, to me, it's always like kind of a shaky subject when you're like reading about stuff like that because it makes you just kind of feel like ick, you know what I mean? Like, ugh. But it was a really good book. In the end, I had briefly mentioned in the end that I had cried. I did, because in the end of the book, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like at the end of the book, there's 2 instances that have to deal with like parenthood and children, and they just like, they really got me. And one of them was really sad and one of them was not as sad, but for that reason, like I did cry while I was reading this book, but specifically like in the last probably 4th of the book. So there wasn't a huge cry factor for me until the end. And yeah, I really like this book. I think if you have not read it and you like historical fiction, that you should read it. I know Kristen Hanna has now, you know, she's a best-selling author and she has other books as well. I'll probably try to read more. I feel like I've read a lot of historical fiction recently, so that was the best and worst books on my Goodreads Want to Read list. Now I have new best and worst rated books on my list, so like I can do this again, which is, to me, that's really cool. These were the best and worst rated books at the time, like when I decided to do this, but now I've read them and there are new ones, so I can do this again and again and again until I like read all my want to read list. I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I have too many books on there. Too many books and too little time, right? But let me know what you think. If you've read either one of these books, what your opinions on them are. I know I was like very vague, and I'm trying to be more conversational and not give away anything in the book, but just kind of tell you how I felt about them. I also really enjoy reading. I don't do this until I'm done with the book, but going back and reading reviews on the book after the fact, so that's something else. I thought about reading out loud like some other reviews, but I think I'm gonna do that for a different book. If you have any suggestions for anything else you want me to read or talk about, let me know. And I think that's gonna be it for this one. Hopefully it was pretty short. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I can't wait to talk about books more with everybody, make some more book friends, and I hope you have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Thanks.